Hey, thanks for clicking on this video. Today we're going to talk about Ronald Belford Scott. We know him as Bon Scott. Make sure you comment below the way you rank the Bon Scott records from AC/DC. Of course, Bon Scott, born in 1946 in Scotland, moved to Australia like so many people did in that time. A lot of people from the UK went to Australia. There, of course, he wanted to be a rock and roll singer. He wanted to be a rock and roll star. He heard it paid well. He did time in the Valentines. You can get this record store day release-ish thing, came out a little while ago. That's him from 1967 to 1970. Kind of hippie, trippy stuff. And he also spent time in Fraternity, another band. And then, of course, boom, he went into AC/DC. Now, I might do a series on this channel called What If, kind of things like happened in rock and roll, but what if this happened instead of that? Or we could just squeeze the episode here right now. So what if, and of course, he tragically passed away in 1980 in the UK. Like so many, you know, the drugs and the alcohol were a big part of that scene. Still a big part of the music scene, but yeah, and it claimed a lot of great people. So it's not so much of what if Bon would have kept living. This is more or less, you know, we all know the story. Brian Johnson comes in, they complete Back in Black, which becomes their biggest record. Huge record. I found a cassette tape that's sealed. Let me get it. Boom, here we go. I found this sealed. It was an estate sale. The guy had tons of cassette tapes. And I'm like, who back in 1981, right, was this? Who back in 1980 bought Back in Black and didn't open it up? I mean, this was huge record. Everyone was curious. What's this new guy, Brian Johnson? What's he gonna sound like, you know? Because we didn't really know, especially in the States, his former band, Gordy. People really didn't hear about it. So it was kind of a new guy filling in, or you know, joining the band rather. And people didn't know. It was AC/DC, you know, they're continuing. And it, like I said, boom, boom, what a huge record. You Shook Me All Night Long, Hell's Bells, Back in Black, Rock and Roll Ain't Noise Pollution, Shake a Leg, Have a Drink. I mean, every song is just great. A great record. But what if the comeback record was not Back in Black? What if the comeback record was For Those About to Rock? I mean, the title track is great, but would it have been enough of a commercial success? Would AC/DC then just, if they kept Bon, if he would have kept living, it wouldn't have passed away sadly, or if they put out this, would they be seen more as like a, I don't know, Ramones, Motorhead, more of like a cultish, popular band? Or because AC/DC, you can't argue the fact that You Shook Me All Night Long put them into commercial pop culture, just huge. But yeah, I mean, could they have released Evil Walks as another single? Put the Finger on You, Let's Get It Up. I mean, I don't know if this would have had the impact that Back in Black had. And especially if this was the record that they came out with first with Brian Johnson, they may be no longer really, because that one wouldn't have, and really this one too, same thing, would have been a commercial hit. I mean, Fly on the Wall, Shake Your Foundation, Sink the Pink, there's commercial sounding heavy metal rock and roll songs on this for sure, but yeah, I don't know. But hey, things happened, and you know, they're still huge today. I've only seen them once, even though like one of my favorite bands. I've only seen them once. But anyway, let's go back and relive the Bon Scott era of AC/DC, and let's rank those records that he did with them. Joined the band in 1974, and the first record they came out with, we're gonna not include this on the list because I want to do more. I mean, I'm from the US, I want to do more of an international thing. This was an Australia release, TNT, which pretty much is High Voltage, the track listing, but I just want to kind of show off that I have it. But yeah, we're going to exclude that one from the ranking. We're also going to exclude the Australian press of High Voltage. It's got Baby Please Don't Go, She's Got Balls, Little Lover, Stick Around, Soul Tripper, You Ain't Got a Hold on Me, Love Song, and Show Business. So a lot of songs that the US fans weren't familiar with, so we'll exclude that. Of course, we're going to exclude the live album, If You Want Blood. What a great cover, great back cover, great track list. I mean, early AC/DC is just unbelievable. And we're going to exclude this cover of High Voltage. And we're going to exclude this cover of Dirty Deeds. Look at me showing off. Ah, man. Yeah, there's, so let's go on. Top 5, well, the only 5 that I'm going to include, Bon Scott, we're going to rank them. Now, number 5 is still kick-ass. Any band would love to put out the quality of record that number 5 is. So by no means are we starting off with, well, this kind of sucks, and this is good, and then this is great, how you do with a lot of kind of groups that have long careers that you rank. The Bon Scott era of AC/DC, you can do no wrong. If you're only familiar with Brian Johnson, AC/DC, and you heard this guy, Bon, and you don't have any of their early work, I don't know how you can be an AC/DC fan and not explore their early work. But yeah, it's phenomenal. Any of these records, A+, A+. But if I had to pick one, number 5, from 1978, wasn't released to the U.S. until 1981. Just never, I mean, if I'm putting on early AC/DC, it's probably the least one I'm going to pick up. It's got great songs, of course, the cover track, Dirty Deeds Done to Jeep, Love at First Feel, Big Balls Rocker is an amazing song, Problem Child, another amazing song. There's going to be some rockin', Ain't No Fun, Waiting Around to Be a Millionaire, that kind of drags, Ride On, Squealer, so yeah, just it loses a little bit of oomph on side B. But like I said, by no means, and really cool artwork, by no means is it a bad record. But number 5 for me, Bon Scott AC/DC era, would be Dirty Deeds Done Dirt Cheap. All right, number 4 came out in 1976 in the USA, international release there. I saw this cover, I think I was at a flea market when I was a wee little boy, and this woman was selling albums, and she had posters and all kinds of things, headbands, you know, and she had this on a blanket, and I just saw this cover, and I'm like, heck yeah, this is awesome. AC/DC, I've heard of them. I think this is the first album I bought of theirs, if I'm not mistaken. And Long Way to the Top, If You Want to Rock and Roll, classic song with the old bagpipes there. Great stuff. YouTube has a lot of early AC/DC concerts. Do yourself a favor and sit down and watch one of those with Bon Scott early stuff. Oh, it's just amazing. Rock and Roll Singer, The Jack, Livewire, TNT, Can I Sit Next to You Girl, Little Lover, She's Got Balls, and of course the title track, High Voltage. Great record, but it's got these cool little drawn up notes there in the back, but great art. Of course, Angus was like the focal point, I guess you call it, of the band, as always, and yeah. But for me, yeah, number 4 would be High Voltage. Again, phenomenal record. Number 3, what are we going to do? Number 3 and number 2, I seriously went around back and back and back. I'm all day at work. Oh, is it hot outside? Sweating at work. For those of you that have inside jobs and the air conditioning, hey, good for you. Some of us got to slum it outside. It's 100 degrees. And I'm thinking to myself, as I'm slumming it outside sweating, do I go with this or this or this? Or do I go with this or that? Some of us don't have a big lot life full of excitement, and we could think of stuff and then make a YouTube video about it. Some of us have that kind of time, I guess. So anyway, so yeah, this one went around, but I placed it 3rd, even though I remember as a kid playing it a ton of times. But yeah, 1977 came out in July 77. Great cover, just the band live. I would stare at this like, wow, this is just great stuff. Of course, the title, Let There Be Rock. Check out the track list, and boys and girls, go down, Dog Eat Dog, Let There Be Rock, Bad Boy Boogie, Problem Child, Overdose, Hell Ain't a Bad Place to Be, Whole Lot of Rosie. You're closing it, right? A lot of bands like, we'll just put that song we don't feel that good about last on the album. Like, you're closing your record with Whole Lot of Rosie, a song that they still do today. Oh man, all the way from 77, Let There Be Rock. My 3rd favorite Bon Scott era AC/DC record. What could be 2nd? Well, then if I tell you what's 2nd, you're going to know it's 1st. You're going to say, I don't agree. Let me know in the comments below. But this was hard because I didn't know 2 or 3. 1, I knew. I knew my favorite Bon Scott. So this is number 2. Phenomenal record. A+, like 99.99% perfection. The other one's 100% perfection. 1979, the last time we'll hear Mr. Bon Scott with AC/DC. Highway to Hell, 5th, and like I said, the final one, Highway to Hell, Girls Got Rhythm, Walk All Over You. The riffs on this record, Touch Too Much, Beating Around the Bush, Shot Down in Flames, Get It Hot, probably the weakest track perhaps on this one. If You Want Blood, You Got It, crazy, great song. Love Hungry Man, and Night Prowler. The group is looking good. I tell you, when I was learning to play drums, Phil Rudd, right here, he was my man. I would just put this on the turntable, had a speaker cranked up to my head, and I was just learning the drums. Highway to Hell was all I needed. I figured if I could play drums, the Highway to Hell, I'll be fine. And yeah, this is such a great record. You know, Bon Scott looks so cool, and Angus was looking cool. Great cover, like I said, great songs. But for me, it's the 2nd best Bon Scott era AC/DC record. What's first? Well, if you're an AC/DC fan, you know you've already eliminated all of them. And you're like, oh, Brian's going with Powerage? Heck yeah, I am. My favorite AC/DC record. Great cover. Instead of veins, he's got all these electric things. I saw this as well at the flea market, just sitting there on a towel, and I'm like, I'm buying that. Powerage? Heck yeah. And it just kind of evil, like, tones, kind of color tones. I mean, this is just, this band, I mean, it comes out 1978. I probably didn't buy it when it came out, but soon after. And here I am, a little kid, and telling my friends, I just bought Powerage by AC/DC. Pretty cool. Rock and Roll Damnation, Down Payment Blues, Gimme a Bullet, Riff Raff, unbelievable song, Sin City, one of my favorite AC/DC songs, What's Next to the Moon, great song, Gone Shooting, Up to My Neck in You, a phenomenal fast-paced AC/DC song, Kicked in the Teeth, another one. Oh, this is my favorite because the way I like Mr. Bon Scott, the swagger, the snarl, kind of snottiness in his vocals. Is he like a Freddie Mercury or Steve Perry? Does he have this great... I wouldn't say he's like a classically great trained vocalist, but is he one of the best frontman vocalists of all time? Hell yeah. He's just got that voice. I mean, you got Angus Young playing lead guitar. You're going to have a hell of a voice to cut through that. Brian Johnson has it. Bon Scott before him had it. So it's just a perfect, I think, rock and roll voice. It really is. And if you're looking for the sounds of that perfect rock and roll voice, you want to know what's the best AC/DC record to get, Bon Scott era, Powerage. Let me know in the comments below what your 5 are, and thanks for watching.